So what's going on in the Tea Party? What's it all about?
Well, I think lately, you've heard the media and even the Republican establishment, if you will, trying to say, and the Democrat establishment, trying to say that the Tea Party is dead, it's not doing anything. Back in 2009, it was about rallies, it was about holding our signs, getting on the street, getting together, and letting everybody else know that you're not alone. It's a silent majority. But once we got into the election season, we turned that corner and we said, you know what, we're going to have to get out the vote. We're going to have to turn into campaign mode. So people learned a lot about it. And I think really what you're finding now is, we call it political entrepreneurship, Tea Party 2.0, where we thought the media was telling the whole story. We thought that the party establishments on both sides were watching for voter fraud. And we thought that the party had the get out the vote strategy and the technologies. And the political entrepreneurship that's going on, like Big Voices Media, like True the Vote, like Liberty Link, and a lot of these get out the vote strategies, we the people are doing them ourselves. We're figuring it out. We're doing a deep dive and discovering how to do these things ourselves. We cannot rely upon the establishments and the institutions that we thought were there doing things for us. So I think the Tea Party has morphed. We've got into campaign mode. It's not about rallies and letting everybody know that you're not alone anymore. Sure, we're going to have some rallies, but it really is about rolling up our sleeves and stepping outside our comfort zone, getting engaged in the process, doing things we never thought we had to do, but protecting liberty and passing it on to the next generation is that important, so we have to do all these things.
You mentioned Big Voices Media. Tell me about it.
Big Voices Media, born out of the frustrations that the Jacksonville the First Coast Tea Party had, where they realized the media wasn't covering, they weren't exposing what was really going on. Billy Tucker, a great leader up in Jacksonville, she's with the team developed this technology that we the people can hold the microphone, we the people can tell our story about what's going on and get the word out. We don't have to rely upon the media anymore. Big Voices Media is a network, and there are channels within that network of conservative institutions like Heritage, like State Policy Network, and even grassroots groups that are now able to get their voices out and get their voices heard with their videos on demand, and also some live streaming, some live events. We went to the Iowa caucuses and broadcast live there. The technology that's used is triple play, which means it's available on your computer and the internet, it's available on your mobile device, and it's also available on your TV through a box called Roku. So you can access it anywhere. And it really is about empowering the people and helping us bypass the media and putting the microphone in our own hands.
So how has the media reaction been to, say, Big Voices or anything else that you're doing on the media field?
Well, I'm sure it's going to be a big challenge once we hit that critical mass, that explosion. We're actually reworking the model a little bit now, and when that technology is done, when we launch, it'll be pretty shocking to them, I'm sure.
In your experience working with Tea Party members, particularly those that may have run for Congress and things like that, how media savvy have they been, in your opinion, and what can the Tea Party do to help them achieve more success in the future?
I mean, that's a great question. We want regular folks to run for office, and they're not always the prettiest, they're not always the most suave and smooth and great on camera. They don't have that training. So, as we're out there in Big Voices Media training people how to become citizen journalists, that's a great idea for us to actually also train grassroots, regular, everyday people who are going to run for office and how to become more media savvy and how to get their message out. That's a great idea, and I welcome that. We say it's so complicated in DC, so we have to keep sending attorneys, but we keep sending attorneys and it gets complicated in DC. So we need to find outside of that pool some regular Joes to go run for office, and that's a great idea.
So what do you think will happen in November, in your opinion?
It's hard to make predictions, but I can make a prediction on what will happen if we don't get involved, if we don't get engaged. And I know the conservative movement is really split amongst the candidates. The Tea Party movement is about principles and values first. And if any candidate espouses and communicates those principles and values, we support that communication. It's hard to get behind one candidate 100% of the time because they're all flawed. We have to create an environment where we reward candidates for doing right. We reward candidates for sticking to the principles and values that the Tea Party represents. So My prediction, if we don't get involved, is going to be chaos. We cannot continue down the path. 15 and a half, almost $16 trillion international debt is unsustainable. I would like to ask every single candidate, even Barack Obama, if each of your policies are enacted, what will the national debt be in 10 years? And I want them, even Leader Boehner, I want him to look me in the face and tell me, you're supposed to be excited because our national debt on our current path will be 24 trillion instead of 25. I don't care what party they're a part of, that's unsustainable and it's unacceptable. So I can predict what will happen if we don't get involved. That's what's going to happen. We're going to have limited liberty, limited opportunity for our kids and future generations if we don't get involved now.
Great.